Hey, what's up, everybody? Chad Calek here, and welcome to episode 6 of the In a Crowded Room podcast. On this episode, I'm going to answer a couple questions, kind of kill two birds with one stone, that I recently received from my Facebook, and these are both pretty common questions. The first is, what is the difference between a demonic case and just a negative case? And the second question is, do I have any demonic stories that are scary to me, or have I experienced something that I want to share that is related to the demonic realm or something that I believe to be demonic? To answer the first question, the difference between a demonic case and a negative case, and what I mean by negative case is just like basically a ghost that is pissed off, that just likes scaring people and, is throwing things around, doing things that are threatening, versus something far more sinister, which would be a demonic case. So the major difference that I could, if I could point at one thing that I would say this is the major difference, is the intelligence level. And what I mean by that is when I've been on cases that I would describe as demonic, there is an aspect of toying with you where it almost seems like there's physically like a very smart person that knows your tendencies and knows the things that freak you out, versus like an angry spirit or an angry ghost, which a lot of times is just loud rapping, loud, knocking, or maybe hearing footsteps that are loud, or moving something, or throwing something. Now, the best way to demonstrate what I'm talking about is to actually answer question 2, which is to tell you, yes, there is a scary story that I could share with you that happened in Tombstone, Arizona, of all places. And this was back, I want to say it was probably 2008. I had only been doing Paranormal State for about a year at that time. And I had just gotten to the place where I was experiencing, television fame, where I would, go out, and it seemed like every time I would go out, there'd be somebody that would, stop me, that was a fan of the show. And that's a fun time, to be honest. That's one of the cool things about doing TV, especially when you first start. And another byproduct of that is that paranormal groups all over the country will get a hold of you, and they'll try to have you do their events, where they'll, pay you X amount of dollars to come and do a ghost hunt or a lecture. And then off the back of you coming, they'll charge whatever they want to charge for tickets. And in a perfect world, the event goes well, everybody makes money, everybody's happy. I did do a lot of those, just because I didn't know a lot of the paranormal groups, but there was one that I knew from Vegas that was always very supportive of me, and were fans of my work long before Paranormal State. And they had asked me if I wanted to come to Tombstone and do their event. I said yes, just because I had never been to Tombstone. And at that time on Paranormal State, we had just done like 2 demonic cases in a row, including the Quincy I Am 6 case. And at the same time, we were working on my family's case. So I was spending a lot of hours there. So we're talking about nonstop demonic cases. So I looked at this Tombstone trip as a way to really kind of get away and have some fun. The Tombstone Western is one of my favorite Westerns ever. I just love Westerns, The Unforgiven. So I was like, this will be cool to go out there. So I did. I literally wrapped filming on Paranormal State like on a Thursday, and went back to LA for like a day, and I was right back in Tombstone on a Saturday. And I wasn't supposed to leave till the following Monday. So that Saturday, I arrived pretty early. I was scheduled to do a lecture and then a Q&A, and then a ghost hunt at Big Nose Kate's and the Birdcage Theater. which I did, and it was a lot of fun. The group was great. The crowd was great. It was cool to see Big Nose Kate's and the Bird Cage, even though neither of them are the original buildings. The original buildings actually burned down, but both of those buildings still have some history, so it was fun. Nothing happened at either place. Like 99% of all ghost hunts, nothing ever happens. Um, but we wrapped pretty early. I remember we got out of there around, I want to say midnight was Big Nose Kate's that was over. So I hung out for a little bit with Amy Bruni, who's a friend of mine. She was at this event as well, and had a good time and decided I was going to turn it in for the night. On my way back to the hotel, and I was walking uh, by myself, there was a group of about 4 or 5 people, and some of them were in the group for this event. And they approached me and they said, "Do you want to come ghost hunt with us? There's this other place we know that's off the main strip here. It's a winery and a restaurant." And this group they had a couple things that they used that I don't typically use at all. Which one was a medium, and two was this thing called a digital dowser, which was the earliest version of the Ovilus. And what that is, it's a little random number generator basically, and it's programmed with words. So the Ovilus is that thing you might have seen it on Paranormal State. It'll take everything from barometric pressure to temperature. And like I said, it's just a random number generator. And when it hits certain sequences, it'll spit out words. So the one famously on Paranormal State, the Ovilus has the word demon programmed into it. So under the right circumstances, the thing will just go demon. Well, this was the earliest version of the Ovilus. Like I said, it was called Digital Dowser. And it only had like 200 words programmed into it. So like I said, I had never used that before. And I don't know. I guess at the time, I wasn't really ready for bed. I had been working on cases, so I was used to staying up till 4 or 5 a.m. And I thought, why not? Like, let's go check this place out. And this group of people were wonderful. They were very, very nice. And like I said, they were fans of the show. And it felt cool. I mean, they were excited. And I thought, well, this is a cool opportunity to go somewhere I've never been and ghost hunt a place I've never ghost hunted before. So I get there, and it's a double-decker building, wide open dining room where a bunch of people can sit down and eat. And but nobody's in there. There's probably like 5 or 6 people from the group, and then myself. And I just pull up a chair in the corner of the room. And when I investigate, I just like to listen to the room, get an idea of what natural sounds are being made, and I'll spend a lot of time listening in the beginning before I really move anywhere. But right away, when I sit down, the medium with the group says, just so you know, Chad, there's a female spirit right next to you. Now, I have some issues with medium. I shouldn't say that. I don't have issues with mediumship because I do believe it's possible. But I've just been to so many investigations where the mediums kind of make themselves incredibly self-important, where they could see and hear everything nobody else can, and you're just supposed to take their word for what's going on. And often there's no proof of what they're saying. So I've gotten frustrated with that over the years. That doesn't mean that mediumship isn't real, and I haven't seen some real things as well. But I didn't know this person, so I didn't really know what to trust. And she said it right away. She was like, "There's a female spirit in the room, and she's right next to you." And I'm like, "Okay." I'll tell her I said hello, I guess. And she's like, "Well, no, she's saying something over and over again. I'm trying to hear what she's saying. I'm trying to make it out." And I'm like, "Okay." And she goes, "I got it. I could hear what she's saying." And I said, "What?" And she said she wants you to know that she's attracted to you, but she fears you. And I'm like, I mean, attracted to me how? Like attracted to me? Like physically attracted to me? And And I'm thinking, no, that's not it. She says, yes, no, that is it. She wants you to know that she's physically attracted to you, but she's scared of you. And I was like, that's weird. I don't know what to say to that. Okay. Just tell her I said okay. And she keeps saying, well, she's saying it again. She keeps saying it over and over again. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know what to do with that. And then a few more minutes goes by and she says, you should know, she's like yelling it now. She's yelling it at you that, she's attracted to you, but she's scared of you. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. Like, you're just telling me this. I don't know what that means. And someone there says, well, I have the digital dowser here. So why don't we turn this digital dowser on and see if she can speak through it, this spirit. And now I'm kind of, I'm interested because I haven't used this dowser before. It was very, very new technology at the time. And I'm like, well, listen, if you're telling me there's a way that this spirit, that you believe there's a way that this spirit can manipulate this technology to actually speak to me, then look, man, I'm open to new things. Let's try it out. So they turn it on, and right away it starts spitting out a bunch of random words that don't mean anything. It's car, dog, cold, just like random stuff. And so I say, hey, listen, if you're in this room and you're standing next to me, then I'm going to ask you some questions, and I need you to manipulate this box. I need you to be quiet for a while, and then I'm going to ask you questions, and I need definite answers because I'm very skeptical. And I'm saying this out loud. So the box actually gets quiet, and I sit there probably 2 or 3 minutes, and nothing comes out of it. And I say, so are you still by my side? And right away, yes, out of the box. And I am just like, what? And I'm like, okay, well, yes is one of the words that are programmed. So I pause again and I say, okay, are you a female spirit, as the medium says? And right away again, yes. And I'm like, okay, but Chad, don't buy into this, man. It just said yes twice. Again, it's a programmed word. It's got to say something new, soon. And I say, so I understand you're attracted to me, but you're scared of me. Is that true? And it says yes, which at that point, that's 3 times in a row that it said yes. I'm thinking, even if it has 200 words programmed into it, the fact that it said yes 3 times in a row is really creepy without spitting out any other words. So I say, okay, well, if you're in here and you can manipulate this box, I need you to give me direct commands. I mean, tell me what you want me to do. I don't know why you're saying that you're attracted to me, but you're scared of me. I don't know why you're yelling this at me. What do you want me to do? And the box says stand. So I'm like, okay. So I stand up and it says turn. So the way I'm standing, the only way I can turn is to my left because I'm in the back corner of the room and my right shoulder is up against the wall. So I can only turn left. So I turn left, and like it's on a tape recorder, it starts going, hurry, hurry, hurry. Now remember, there's multiple people witnessing this, okay? There's 5, 6 people in the room, and I'm like, hurry, like rush, like go somewhere. So I just start walking, and I'm walking across, the room with my left shoulder up against the wall, and I get all the way to the other wall, and right before I get to the wall, I'm thinking in my head the whole time, I wonder if it's going to tell me to stop right before I get to the other wall. And yeah, right before I hit the other wall, I mean a step away, this freaking thing goes stop. Takes about a 5-second pause and goes turn. So I turn again, and before I could even ask it a question, it's like a loop again. Hurry, hurry, hurry. I start moving forward, and as I am, the medium is saying she's yelling at you right now. She's yelling that she's attracted to you, but she's scared of you. And, I got the medium telling me this. The box is going, hurry, hurry, hurry. I'm legitimately freaked out because I can't figure out what is going on. Everyone in the room, I think I said it a couple of times. I was like, man, if I find out somebody's messing around with me with this box, because I don't know what this thing is. It's the first time I've ever used it. And no, that wasn't the case. No one was playing with it. And so I'm walking And I'm hurrying and I'm going straight, and I walk all the way down this hallway that leads to this door at the very end of the hallway. And I get there and I get to the door, and it doesn't say anything. It's dead quiet. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? And it's quiet for a long time. I'm like, okay, you got to tell me what you want me to do. And it says open. So I'm like, okay. So I open the door, push the door, in, because there's an inward opening door, and it's a bathroom. And I'm like, okay. So I take a few steps into the bathroom, and it's super quiet. Super quiet. I'm like standing there, and I'm thinking in my head, okay, like there has to be some finale, right? Like it's going to tell me something crazy. And then out of the blue, the weirdest thing, it says my name. It says Chad. What's weird about that is there's no way my name was programmed into this box, because they told me the box only had 250 words, I think, programmed into it. So you wouldn't use a name. You would use, verbs and nouns. And I just hear, Chad come out, and everybody freaks out. I mean, everyone's like, what the heck? I'm like, did that say my name? And everyone's like looking at me like, wow. So I say to the alleged female spirit, I say, listen, if you're in here, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm in here. I'm like, am I where I'm supposed to be? And it says yes. So I turn and I look to the one person that I know knows the history about the place, the first person that talked to me, and I said, wait a minute, what is this place? And they said, it's a winery. And I said, what did it used to be? Has it always been a winery? And she says, no, it used to be a brothel. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, still here with me? And the freaking box goes, yes. And I go, okay, was someone killed in here? And it just goes, no. Was someone hurt in here? Long pause again, and then it just goes, yes. And I'm like, okay, were you the one that's hurt? And the medium goes, she's saying it again. She's attracted to you, but she's scared of you. And I go, okay, I understand. I hear you, but I don't understand what that means. I'm trying to, figure this out. And I say, were you hurt in here? Again, long pause, yes. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to ask this question. Were you raped in here? And the box goes, yes. And I ask, do you know who raped you? And the box says, turn. I turn the only way I can to my right. I'm looking down at the box. And I said, do you know who raped you? The box says, yes. And I said, okay, who was it? And the box says, look. And I look up in front of me, and there's a mirror. And fear ripped through my body. Because this girl was trying to say that I looked like a person who raped her. Here I go to a place for fun, and something takes notice of me, walks me around the place, tells me this elaborate story, pulls me in the bathroom. There's this intelligent riddle that ends with me staring in a mirror. It took me definitely a few minutes to get my thoughts together as to what was going on. There is no spirit. There is no spirit. This was the demonic. In our line of work, rule number 1, you don't give up free will. You don't do what you're told. This is why Ouija boards are problematic. It's not the board. I mean, it could be a Ouija banana. Anything that you're using to take over your free will is going to be problematic in a spiritual sense. And my own skepticism of mediums and of this box, because I didn't really believe in it and I wanted to see if it could, actually generate results. Through my own skepticism, I had completely handed control over to something that had full control of me. It was literally telling me where to walk. It was telling me where to go, where to stand, when to sit, when to turn. It was doing all of these things, and there was no female spirit. And this thing that was playing with me was trying to gain control. And how do I know that? Because the feeling in that bathroom, there is a very, very common feeling. It's kind of like when you have a song that you heard at a certain time in your life, and then you hear that song later on, you're like, oh, this is familiar. And you almost feel like you're at that place when you hear that song. It's the same thing with the paranormal. The feeling I had in that bathroom when it kind of revealed itself at the end was the same feeling I had in my house in Iowa. It was the same feeling that I had in Quincy, Illinois. It was the same. And the intelligence level, knowing me well enough to know that the way to control me was not to try to scare me, but it was through my own curiosity. Through my own skepticism and through my own curiosity, this thing had gained a semi-control of me. It was telling me what to do and I was doing it. And at that time, like I said, I was working on my family's case and 2 paranormal state cases that were demonic. I was encumbered by demonic cases. And I was terrified because it sought me out. It was aware of me. And that is another big part of the demonic. You feel like it knows you personally. And I was alone in Tombstone. I was alone. I flew there alone. So I ended that investigation. And it was a long walk back to my hotel room. Very, very long alley I had to walk through that was just terrifying. And I got back, sat on my bed, and realized there was probably about another 3 hours before the sun came up. And then I was like, and the following day I had scheduled to have a full day off to go around Tombstone. And I was like, how do I do this, man? I am freaked out right now. I know that I am really, really far down the old demonic rabbit hole. I just, learned that I'm vulnerable right now. I should have recognized that situation right away. I should have recognized that this thing is toying with you. There's no spirit here, man. This thing is controlling you, trying to embarrass you. It's trying to manipulate you. It's trying to do all these things and show you that it has the upper hand. I just got super freaked out. I did not sleep. I changed my flight to catch the first flight out of town. By 7:40 a.m., I was on a plane. I was out of there. And I have not been back to Tombstone since. And let me say this, it's not Tombstone that I fear in any sense. But what I don't like is to be in any situation where I didn't have control. And I didn't have control in that place. So there's not been a reason for me to go back. There's been no part of me that wants to go back to a location in which I wasn't quick enough to catch on to what was going on. That's the major difference in the demonic and a negative case. A negative ghost does not have that level of sophistication. It does not know you like you know yourself. An angry ghost is going to try to scare you the same way it would try to scare anybody else who walks to the door. It's parlor tricks, moving things, making loud, sounds, or opening doors and shutting them, that type of stuff. I don't talk about the demonic a lot because I know it's one of those things that you either believe or you don't. And I think what stops people from understanding the demonic or even believing it is just the title, the word. It's the same thing like with ghost. The term ghost is problematic because if you hear a sound in the other room that shouldn't come from the other room, is that a ghost? If you hear footsteps, is that a ghost? If you don't see it, is it not a ghost? Do you have to see it for it to be? Like, what is a ghost, right? We use that term to encompass so many things. It's the same thing with the demonic. There's a lot of Catholic religious connotation to the term demonic and legions and all those names. And I don't know that I believe in all of that, but I believe in evil. And I believe in the intelligence of evil. And I certainly believe in the manifestation of it. You don't got to look further than, the Congo rape camps, or like, Auschwitz and the Holocaust, and like, or even these, crazy serial killings. And, when a human being ceases to act like a human being and they act like an evil animal hell-bent on destroying humanity in the worst way imaginable, that by any term, to me, is a manifestation of evil, therefore the demonic. And I want to add this too. I've always understood the fascination with the demonic because it's the big bad wolf of the paranormal. It's what the scariest movies are made about, and Hollywood has done a lot to really kind of foster the legend of the demonic. But when you're really affected by the intelligence of evil, it's not something you can wash off. It's something that you carry with you every day. And I think you have to have a calling to be a demonologist. You have to have something inside of you that says, yes, I want to go deal with this. Because you don't get to decide when you're done. You don't get to just shut off the lights and everything goes away. You're just not in control. And that's why I don't do demonic cases anymore. I will never do a demonic case again. I have no interest in it. It's not my calling. I'm a storyteller. I think I was put on this planet to share my experiences with all of you. Thank you for listening to episode 6 of the In a Crowded Room podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, my friends. I will be back tomorrow with more. All the best.